So if we have this rare disease turning around by drinking water with minerals in it, how many more things are there out there that people are suffering from, and they don't really have a disease per se, although symptoms are categorized with a name and we call that disease, but it's really a name for a group of symptoms. So when you peel that away, you have to start to come to the conclusion that maybe we're not just randomly stricken with these things. Maybe disease is not just a happen chance or like playing a roulette wheel. It's just your number was up and this is what happened to you. It's possible, and this has been the conclusion after 20 years or more of working with the Aqualyte Ionyte, it's my conclusion that we're not randomly stricken, that we're suffering from deficiencies. And the symptoms without a name are still symptoms. So we, as Randy said in the beginning, we're not out here to tell you that we have a cure. We're not trying to diagnose and say that you're mineral deficient and dehydrated. We're just saying that in the case of Sherry, and you're going to hear another gentleman here in a minute tell his story, and you've heard others, if you've been on these calls before, you've heard other people talk about many, many different groups of symptoms that they were suffering from, and they either got better or the symptoms went away completely. And the interesting thing is they all had the same thing in common. They were putting these two mineral products, Aqualyte coral minerals and Ionyte liquid minerals, into water and drinking the right amount of water each day. And I tell you, it's just the most fascinating thing for me because, as you know, if you've watched the video, I have been in this field of nutrition for many years. I've been researching for over 45 years now. And the fact is I've actually worked in a couple of medical clinics because of the experiences I had became known to doctors in my community that said, we would like to have you come and work with us and help us with our patients because we can treat their symptoms to get them out of trouble with drugs, but long range, this isn't going to solve their problem. Drugs are just for the immediate treatment of symptoms, but they're not a long-range treatment. At least for some people, they get tired of it. They get tired of the side effects. And they look then for something natural. And these doctors, these medical doctors, said, Fred, we want you to talk to the patients after we prescribe drugs for them to get them out of their emergency situation, and we want you to teach them what they should be eating and what supplements to take for their particular set of symptoms. Well, when I got a hold of the Aqualyte, the first thing I wanted to know is, what would this do? Forget what the Japanese are saying about it. What would it do to everyday people with everyday kind of symptoms and disease? What would it do for them? And so I started using my clients as guinea pigs, and I would just simply say, no matter what they said was wrong, I would simply say, here, put these two products, these mineral products into your water, drink at least a half a gallon a day, and let me know what happens. And over again, people were coming back with the most amazing testimonials. I couldn't believe it. I thought, how could it be? What is really going on? Just realize that when you put that little sachet of Aqualyte in your water and you leave it there for an hour, a day, a week, a month, and you take it back out, it looks the same, only it's wet. It doesn't look like, it didn't dissolve in any way that you could tell, but there were minerals released into the water. So I'm saying that to indicate it's a very small amount of minerals, probably less than 100 milligrams of minerals all total that come out into your water, depending on what kind of water you're putting it in. And then the Ionyte, I think it's maybe 10 milligrams of minerals per half dropper. So altogether, again, you're talking about maybe 100 milligrams of minerals, and yet people are getting more benefit from that small amount than they are from taking 1,000 or more milligrams of other mineral products. It just defies your imagination. And it finally occurred to me, it has to be that the water itself is part of it. In other words, the water turns into sort of a tonic, because these minerals not only come out into the water and become part of the water, but in that process of becoming part of the water, they're changing the very molecular structure of the water. That's huge. I'm telling you, I spent a long time working with a Swedish scientist, searching the world over, and someday we'll have a convention and I'll tell some of the stories of the products that we investigated. I won't take the time tonight. But the most unusual mineral products that you could possibly imagine in the far corners of the earth that myself and the Swedish scientists were able to find. And in our analysis, we found some pretty good products out there, some that you've never ever heard of. Some were special formulas developed by doctors. But we always found something lacking, that it wasn't that premier, top-of-the-chart mineral product that we were looking for. And remember, that's all we were looking for. We had no idea that we were going to find something that was life-changing. We just wanted something to be able to recommend to our clients that would be the very best mineral supplement. That's it. We were still going to recommend vitamins and herbs and other things. We just wanted to make sure that in that recommendation we were also going to have the best minerals, because we knew minerals were important. In fact, they're far more important than vitamins. Your vitamins really are useless if you don't have minerals. But what we never anticipated until we got the product from Japan and started working with it, we never anticipated the scope of what this product could do. And I'm just talking about the Aqualyte. But when it goes into the water, it changes that water in a way that no other product that I've ever heard of, anything I've ever come across, can do. It completely changes the molecular structure so that the water is, as we say, wetter, meaning that it has the ability to permeate the cells much more easily than any other kind of water. I don't care what kind it is. We found out also that the bonding of the H's to the O, you know water is H2O, but did you know that the angle of the H's, how they're attached to the O, did you know that makes a difference? And this Aqualyte coral mineral sachet put into water, ordinary water, now goes to work and transform that water even to the point that the bonding of the H's to the O changes. And not only that, but because H2O has a tendency to want to attach to another H2O, you end up with not individual molecules of H2O, but you have what looks like a cluster of grapes. And so the cell is presented with this molecule that is massive, and in some cases it's maybe 14 to 16 of these H2O molecules bonded together. It's too large in most cases to get into the cell. But when you put the Aqualyte in, it breaks those apart. So now you're down to molecules that are about half that size. And they very easily penetrate the cell. Well, what does that do? It helps the cell to get hydrated, and it helps the cell to be able to release things that it had stored up that it couldn't get rid of because it didn't have the proper water. And then these minerals, like little magnets, attach to impurities, chemicals, toxins, and flush them out of your body. There's a very famous doctor in Sweden who told me that looking at the blood of his patients after they drank this Aqualyte water, looking through a very expensive microscope, he said, this cleanses the blood. Well, how much healthier would you be if you had clean blood? My goodness, that's the heart and soul of every person alive, is their blood. Everything that the cell receives, it receives through the blood. Well, what if you had dirty blood? That's not going to make you healthy. And you can take any number of different kinds of supplements, and it's not going to overcome the very foundation of your whole body that's broken, and that is the water. You're 70% water. Your blood's about 90% water. Would it make a difference if you had better water? And what if you had the best water in the entire world? The people of Okinawa are the healthiest, longest-living people on the planet, and it was determined through scientific investigation by a Japanese professor who had been studying the water of Japan for 40 years, and he studied water in other parts of the world as well. And he said the secret to the health and longevity of the people of Okinawa is nothing more than their water. And we have the ability to make that water and drink it every day. We don't have to go to Okinawa. And then the Ionyte is probably, I've talked to Randy about this many times, is probably one of the most mysterious yet effective health products that there is anywhere in the world. And I've been asked many times, why do you think it does what it does? Well, I can give you some explanations. It has organic complexes in it from plants that are the building blocks that the plant uses to create the nutrients that are in the fruits and vegetables that we eat. But those same building blocks are used by the cells. There are traces of amino acids the cells can make proteins out of. They can make enzymes out of them. There are traces of vitamins in there that your cell can rearrange to make other vitamins. And then there's, of course, minerals and then enzymes. Enzymes are the catalyst for everything that happens in your body, everything. You can't blink your eyes without enzymes. And yet, this small amount, this trace amount of enzymes, amino acids, vitamins, and of course minerals, these trace amounts, little tiny amounts, are able to do more for people than drinking a gallon of another liquid mineral product out there that is supposed to have plant-based organic complexes in it as well. And I know that because I've had 19 and a half years to test it and test it against other products out there in the marketplace. There's just nothing like it if you just stop there. But there's something else, some other little mysterious thing that makes the Ionyte different.